Okay guys, today we're posting a video of me building this. It's a Klon Centaur Klone, or a clone with a K, as most people seem to write it online. There's a fair amount of people that give out about these, that they're not real. I don't really follow what the argument is exactly. I just know that people give out about them. It's the internet, people give out about everything. It's a kit I bought off of AliExpress. It's dirt cheap and it works well. It was a fun build. Please enjoy. Let's see what comes in the box. So it's packaged pretty well. It's from China. But nice amount of bubble wrap to keep it safe. And then one of those pedal sleeve things that I always get from these from China. Now, the artwork actually looks pretty cool. It's a bit more understated than most clones, which have the weird gold enclosure. I kind of prefer this. And it looks nice, has the centaur on it. It doesn't have any other branding, which is nice. I'll put a logo on it with a water slide, I think, just to differentiate it. Comes with instructions, which are in bad English, I think. Okay. And a photocopied wiring diagram, which I can already tell isn't going to be very helpful because it's photocopied very badly. Oh, actually, yeah, I think it will work. I think you just basically ignore the center column. It's not so bad. It's actually a bit better than the normal instructions you get from China. And then presumably all of the parts you need are included. Famous last words. Got my resistors. The PCB. Enough cables to wire it all up. Battery clip. Looks like capacitors, diodes, and chips. TLO72CP chips, apparently. Most people would say then those aren't genuine, but I don't care as long as it sounds good at the end. Foot switch, some pots, a red LED. I don't normally like red LEDs, but sure, I'll go with it. And then the Klon style knobs for the pots, which I'm sure are fine. And power jack. And then the rubber feet that I never use. I'm kind of growing a collection of rubber feet. The question is, how do I start? And the answer is in the instructions. So, the anti-rotation knobs on the pots, and then put the LED and power jack into the case. So we'll start with that. Right, all of the ICs are in, so that's step 1, 2 and 3. The LED power thing, power jack are in. The potentiometers are mounted properly, not soldered yet though, and the IC sockets are in. So next up is to organize all of the resistors and put them in, ready to be soldered. that's all of the resistors put in place. So now I'll move on to the capacitors. It seemed to ask that in the instructions it says that you should leave a bit of extra room, like put them slightly up to give some more wriggle room and to help prevent temperature changes from affecting it, which is kind of unusual, but give it a shot, follow the instructions as closely as I can. So I think we'll start with the electrolytic ones and then just plow on from there. Right, so that is everything except for the diodes, the ICs, and the off-board wiring done. That was a bit of a pain. I find capacitor codes to be just the biggest, worst chore of this hobby, really. I mean, I could learn the actual rules and be able to do it a bit easier, but that requires more effort than I'm currently willing to expend. Maybe someday, just from repetition, I'll memorize how to actually read capacitor codes, but that day is not today. So it's shaping up well. Hopefully it should work perfectly first try, but these things tend to fail on me. I have had a bad string of luck recently with pedals, so hopefully this one will work and change that. Yeah. So it's getting dark today, so I think I'll leave it and pick it up tomorrow. Okay, so looking good so far. The next step really, I'm going to solder in the potentiometers. Then we'll start building everything into the enclosure. Put all the jacks and whatnot into it, and then start wiring it up properly. And we should be finished in the next few minutes. Or half an hour or whatever. Well, it's going to be a lot of fast forwarding, so for you it's going to be a few minutes. But yeah, pretty happy with how this is going so far. No idea if it works yet, but we remain needlessly, hopelessly optimistic. Right, all of the wiring is added now to the board, so the next step will be just to mount it inside the enclosure, and then we can try and figure out where these wires are going to. The hardest part of this project will be trying to read this diagram, which is a really horribly photocopied grayscale picture where you can't really make out what they're trying to get at for half of it. Especially with this guy. I'm pretty sure 3 goes to the last one there. Yeah, I think I can read that. Jacks might be a bit of a problem, but I can just try it a few ways until it works, I guess. Which isn't great, but yeah, let's plow on. Right, so there's only the one last thing to do, which is to install the IC chips. And it doesn't give very good instructions for this either. It says, what does it say? Install op amps. The 7760 or 7660 charge pump goes closest to the input. The other ones fill the other two spaces. So that's the input. And 1072, that's one of the other ones. 1072. Okay, yeah, that wasn't actually that difficult. I was just making a big deal of nothing. Just would have made sense to have a circuit diagram, or at least some kind of decent instructions that were printed with a wiring diagram or something. But, you know, it's a cheap old kit from China. You get what you pay for. And if this works, then it's, you know, actually pretty great. Okay, so it didn't work at first because I found out that this cable here going to the input was connected to the wrong terminal, which I can mostly blame on the ridiculously bad Chinese instructions, if you can even call them instructions, because it's nearly impossible to make out what they meant. But also I should have been smart enough to double check and actually use logic to figure out that it, you know, was supposed to be connected to the tip instead of the sleeve, but blah blah blah. So now all that's left to do is box it up properly, and then I'll do a little test clip. Alright, so there you have it. It's a DIY Klon clone, or a clone with a K, depending on what way you want to write it or say it or whatever. So it sounds pretty nice, worked pretty well once I figured out how to build it. Once again, as far as kind of a review of the company that made it, they give you what you need, but the instructions are very lacking. But it works. Does it sound like a real Klon? I don't have a clue. I've never used one. I will say I like the way it sounds. If a real Klon sounds better than this, then maybe it is worth the ridiculous sum of money that they charge for them. But for what this is, I mean, it was $40, I think. Somewhere between 30 and 40 euro, I think. So, well worth it. Nice little project. Had me a bit stressed out towards the end, trying to figure out what I did wrong, but I won't include most of that in the video. All I had to do was swap one cable. The rest of it was built correctly anyway, but yeah, some better instructions would be nice. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and check back soon for more audio related nonsense. Hopefully, the next time I post a video, these walls will no longer be a weird kind of pale pink, because I'm going to start building the studio later.